Ivan IV Vasilievich, known as Ivan the Terrible, is a fascinating but puzzling figure in Russian history. In this story, we'll take a closer look at his life, starting with his tough childhood, how he became a powerful ruler, the conflicts he faced with Russian nobles, his marriages, the cruel things he did that earned him the Ivan the Terrible nickname, including a terrible crime, and how he died. Ivan the Terrible's story begins in 16th century Russia, a place filled with problems. He was born in 1530, and when he was just 3, his father, Grand Prince Vasily III, passed away. This sad event marked the beginning of his rough childhood, where he had to deal with power struggles and the Russian nobles, known as the boyars, trying to control him. The boyars wanted to have a say in how Ivan ruled, because he was young and didn't know much about being a leader. His mom, Elena Glinskaya, acted as a temporary leader, but she didn't last long. When she passed away, Ivan was even more vulnerable to the boyars' tricks. The boyars treated Ivan harshly, and this made him grow up not trusting them. This would later have a big impact on how he ruled Russia. When Ivan was 16 in 1547, he became the first Tsar of Russia. This was a huge deal and a turning point in Russian history. People were hopeful that a young and strong leader like him could bring order to the country. At first, Ivan worked hard to get more power, but the boyars fought back. He wanted to have more control over the government, reduce the boyars' power, and make Russia stronger. This all came from his deep distrust of the nobility, which started during his Taufchildhood. Ivan's rule wasn't smooth sailing. He had powerful enemies among the boyars who wanted to keep their influence and didn't like his changes. The conflict between Ivan and the boyars got so bad that he created the Oprichnina in 1565. This was like a special group that answered directly to Ivan. It was the start of a dark and cruel time in Russia. The Oprichnina worked under Ivan's orders, and it made the traditional nobility less important. It was a period full of brutality, punishments, and people being very afraid, as Ivan's rule took a much darker turn. Ivan the Terrible also had a personal life that was full of important events, especially his marriages. He had 3 wives during his life, and each of them played a role in how he ruled. His first wife, Anastasia Romanovna, brought stability to Ivan's life, but when she passed away in 1560, it hit him really hard. It led to a time of great sadness for him, and it caused problems in the country. After Anastasia died, Ivan got married to Maria Temryukovna, but it didn't help with his sadness or his reputation. Her family wasn't liked by the Russian nobility, which made things even worse between Ivan and the boyars. Ivan's 3rd marriage was to Martha Sobakina, and it brought a little peace to his life. But it didn't solve the troubles during his rule, and his cruel behavior only got worse. Ivan the Terrible's rule is known for being really cruel. His outbursts of anger and violence earned him the nickname Ivan the Terrible. One of the most famous terrible things that happened during his rule was the Novgorod Massacre in 1570. This was a horrifying event where many innocent people died because Ivan believed the city was plotting against him. It was a brutal reminder of how cruel Ivan could be. Throughout his rule, Ivan ruled with an iron fist. He used the Oprichnina to make people afraid and to stop anyone who opposed him. This time in Russian history was very dark, with people being punished, executed, and living in fear. One of the worst things associated with Ivan the Terrible is the crime of infanticide. This means killing babies, and it's a very shocking accusation. Some historical accounts say that Ivan caused the deaths of his children, which is a terrible thing to even think about. The most well-known case of infanticide is the death of his oldest son and heir, Ivan Ivanovich. Most people believe that Ivan did this because he was angry and could not control himself. When his heir died, it caused a lot of problems in Russia, with confusion about who should lead the country. Ivan the Terrible's cruel rule started to affect his health as he got older. He became more paranoid, violent, and isolated. On March 28, 1584, Ivan IV Vasilievich, known as Ivan the Terrible, passed away when he was 53 years old. People aren't sure if he was killed or if he died naturally, and it's still a mystery. In conclusion, Ivan IV Vasilievich, Ivan the Terrible, was a ruler whose life and rule were full of darkness and cruelty. His journey from a difficult childhood to a harsh ruler shows us how power can change people. His legacy as both a visionary and a monster still fascinates and horrifies us today, and it teaches us a powerful lesson about leadership and its impact on history.